We are live. Tell your friends you're listening to the Verhoeven Effect podcast. I'm Conlon.
And I'm Nathan.
We have another very special episode. We have the 1991 movie Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. Nathan, do you have a history with this movie?
Yes, I watched it last night.
Okay. I have heard about this movie a lot, or maybe just the characters in general. I think maybe Kevin Smith brings it up a lot because this movie kind of does what he did with Jay and Silent Bob, where it's like side characters that then get their own movie.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the only way I know about them. And I've also, the internet has clipped a bunch of scenes from this movie, but pretty much it's only the scenes where Rosencrantz is almost making a scientific discovery and then it all collapses.
Yeah.
So I thought this movie was going to be more of a comedy and less of like actual Shakespearean like kind of attempts at stuff. So I had no idea what to expect. I don't know. Did you have any expectations out of this movie, Nathan, or do you know anything from this movie before coming to see it?
Well, I know what Hamlet is. I know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Because you actually study, Shakespeare, so you know stuff about it. I don't. So
yeah, so I knew what that was, and I knew who these characters. I mean, these are like really peripheral characters in that play,
yeah,
and they're people that they are kind of idiots, and they die like ignominiously because they're basically tricked because they don't pay attention. It's because they are agents of doing bad things, but they're kind of like it's like Beavis and Butthead. Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
just walk into Blades like, oh, I didn't see that coming, and everyone else did. What this movie makes funny is almost like the oh, it's and this is based on a play too, and a book that the guy wrote, the director of the movie.
Yeah, Tom Stoppard. It's a play. It got turned into a book because I found it on Internet Archive, and
Yeah,
that was it was 2017 release, and it's the 50th anniversary of the play. So this thing's been kicking around since '67. So
yeah, it's been around. Tom Stoppard's like,
he's
oh,
almost 80. I think he's like 80 now, something like
he was
that.
88. Yeah,
So still alive. So yeah.
yeah, still going. But yeah, this is almost. It's like that's who those characters are, and that's where they fit into the world of Hamlet. But in this movie, it's very what would you call it? Very similar to Monty Python.
Yes.
Almost the way they're interacting and talking, and it's not just because they both have British accents, but it's also the stuff like they're just right at the cusp of like, no, they're actually fairly smart. Like they're gonna like talk about like a gravitational theory and uncertainty and stuff.
Yeah.
It all kind of falls apart. It's like, oh no, they were talking about stuff that like in the 1600s, like that would be black magic
Yeah.
because they're flipping coins like continuously that always come up heads and they're counting it. And so like, yeah, they're trying to like, they're dealing with a lot of like weird stuff, and they're almost having breakthrough conversations, and it gets derailed.
Yeah. But yeah, and there's also a very like metaphysical nature to this movie where like scenes change and stuff like that, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are bewildered by it, but then just roll with it, and
Yeah,
then they're like constantly forgetting things. Like,
nobody remembers which one's which.
yeah,
They're always interchanged. Like, oh, you're Guildenstern.
I mean, Guildenstern seems to be like on point most of the time, and Rosencrantz usually kind of like the one that's like all over the place, but Guildenstern also just seems to be like lost at times as well. So.
Guildenstern doesn't have as much dialogue either.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Gary or Rosencrantz is talking for both of them for a lot of the movie.
Well, you
Sometimes
get Gary Oldman, you gotta let him do his thing. So
yeah. Well, I remember hearing what was it? Luc Besson said like on the set of The Fifth Element, it was like he was asking Gary Oldman about stuff, and he could recite incredibly long passages of dialogue from Hamlet off the top of his head. Like he just anything he wanted to talk about, because some of the most famous sayings in English are from Hamlet. Like people, Hamlet whether you studied
yeah,
it or
yeah.
not. There's always what are some good ones?
to be or not to be, right?
No, I think that's in Macbeth.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
That's my bad.
I could be wrong about that. Something is rotten in Denmark.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah.
That's become like, oh, that's political corruption. That's like a
What do you remember where A Tale of Two Cities takes place? Is that also in like Denmark or some shit?
don't know.
Okay, don't worry about them.
What's another one? Oh, the lady doth protest too much, methinks. It's
Okay,
like,
yeah.
that's from Hamlet. Good night, sweet prince. Flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. It's like that's from Hamlet. Like all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's 50 other things. I'm not going to quote them all, but yeah, when you realize like how many famous things came from Hamlet, well, a lot.
Well, would you say it's Shakespeare's most famous play, or would that be Macbeth?
That's a tough one.
Or
There's also
or Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah,
That's
I think
that's maybe more like the pop song of Shakespeare.
Well, I think that's the one that like you introduce young people to.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
And it's like that's cool.
That's the bop of Shakespeare.
But then Hamlet's like it's swords and violence. You're like that's even cooler. And then Macbeth is even darker, and it's like oh yes. But yeah, Romeo and Juliet's usually the on and off ramp for a lot of people.
Right.
For,
Yeah.
Shakespeare. Because people act like, oh, the dialogue's too complicated. It's like, no, it's actually brilliant. You just have to pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely. Once we get into the second act, I was like almost completely lost, and it's like I basically had to rewind things in my head, and it's like, oh wait, that's cool dialogue. While the movie is continuing to go, and then I'm missing things as I'm going. It's like, shit, I hope Nathan pays attention because he's good at this stuff. So.
I've always found Shakespeare's actually better to read, listen to, because then you can really see like that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's an amazing turn. That's been my experience. When people deliver it well, it's cool, but it's like I find it better to read because I tend to remember things more if I read them.
Yeah.
Because I can do that. Just stop, pause. It's like, wait a minute, what's that? Because I'm not fluent in this kind of speaking either. But if I read it in context and then read it again, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what they're doing.
But also, then I don't know like how much of this is just taking stuff directly from Hamlet, because I'm assuming this is like maybe like what 90-10%, like 90% original and 10% Hamlet, maybe, or is it even more than that?
It's gotta, that's got to be it, because in their conversations, like in the woods and later on in different locations, it's like when they're not dealing with the other characters.
Yeah,
it's like it's a lot more simplified what they're doing and saying.
Because like, does Hamlet have a scene where it's just Rosencrantz and Guildenstern talking to each other, or are they only in scenes with Hamlet?
I think they're only
and the king and stuff.
I remember it there with the king and with Hamlet.
Okay, all right.
Because their thing is to bring the message, to have the other guy kill Hamlet, and Hamlet reads the message, and it's like, no, kill them, and that's like their whole purpose of existence.
Yeah.
But they are kind of like they accompany him. They're, I forget what they would call them. Yeah, they're just like friends, like loosely affiliated friends.
Yeah, because because his real his real friend is Horatio, and these are kind of his fake friends.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, Horatio.
Well, I bought that. Well, like in Tubi, what came up after this was Hamlet with like Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
and then I found the scene that had maybe it's only one scene, but I found a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern scene in that movie, and they seem more mischievous and like trying to work for the king to undermine Hamlet. Where here it's just like, it seems like they get caught up like, well, we better do this for the king or we're going to get in trouble. And they're like, they do seem genuinely concerned about what's wrong with Hamlet. And then like in the end, it seems to be like, there was no way out for them. Like there was no way to escape. So.
Well, they didn't have enough information.
Yeah.
That was the thing with their characters. Like they never.
And their sin is that they ignored the execution order, and they should have just brought it to Hamlet and worked on it together, essentially. But that wouldn't make a good move or a good thing. It's like ironic that they're cowards because that's who they're. Well, yeah, they're just kind of strange cowards who like I guess mean well, but just need to move on with things. So.
Well, they're kind of like what do you call them, like low-level courtiers or something.
Yeah.
That would be one way to
Yeah,
say it.
I have no idea what like what's their job when they aren't Hamleting. So no idea. They appear to be philosophers. They have swords and horses. Like to what end? I have no idea.
Yeah, whatever people did in like the early 1610 or whenever this came out.
So yeah, this came out February 8th, 1991. And Aaron Davis is listed as a 90s movie, but like it came out in like 3 film festivals. And then usually sometimes like, all right, did this come out in London in wide release? And like it didn't come out in wide release till like 91, so I just called this a 91 movie. So
Okay.
because I was like, yeah, if it released in the UK in 90, I'll call it a 90s release. But every wide release was in 91, so I just called it 91. And again, I just always heard of this movie like kind of like in like other podcast and audio commentaries, so I didn't even know of its existence. Did you know this movie existed?
I knew it was a I knew it was a thing, but I never really I don't know, I just never followed up on it.
Yeah. Director is Tom Stoppard. This is the only movie he ever directed. He's mostly a writer. So yeah, it's also written by Tom Stoppard. This seems to be like very famous for him, but probably more famous is he also wrote Shakespeare in Love, so I guess he just can't escape Shakespeare. So.
Yeah. He fictionalizes the fiction.
He also wrote Brazil, so.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see he likes kind of weird storytelling.
Yeah. Empire of the Sun, he wrote that. So he's got some good writing credits. I imagine he was a playwright, so I don't know any of his playwright stuff, so other than this. He also wrote Billy Bathgate, which is like a curiously awful movie with like extremely good talent, just all managed poorly. So, it's got like Nicole Kidman, Bruce Willis, Dennis Hoffman, and then like a decent director and him writing, and like it's just all garbage. I don't know if you've ever watched Billy Bathgate.
I've heard of it, but I didn't hear anything good.
No,
so.
It's not good. It's a curious thing though. So it's one of those things where if you picked it up and looked at the cast and like this should be good, and it is not. So, cinematographer is Pete Bijou, maybe I don't know. Peter Bijou. Where is he from? Wales. Okay. There's some stuff I recognize of his. Oh, he did Time Bandit. Oh, Monty Python, Life of Brian, and Time Bandit. So this totally like fits in there. Like you're talking, this is very Monty
sense.
Python. So, he shot some Pink Floyd music videos and stuff. 9.5 Weeks, Mississippi Burning.
Richard III, The Truman Show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unfaithful. Yeah, I guess he's still alive. He's also got to be in his 70s, mid 70s. Oh, okay. And cast is Gary Oldman, Tim Roth, and Richard Dreyfuss. And then like one more surprise, was it Ian something?
Ian Glenn?
Yeah. Like you'll know from like mostly from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's like, this is like basically like 20 years on from that, and he's like, I got a chin somehow. It's like weird. It's like, he gets older, like maybe gets his hair done better, and then like has like, I don't know, his voice got more gravelly, so he just became a more interesting character actor. So
yep. Oh yeah, I remember him because he was trying to. I remember more from the TV series and the books.
Well, I'm just talking about the actor. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he. It was like, that's that guy, and he looked kind of similar.
And what else did that guy do? Oh, where's that? There it is. getting lost in all my stuff.
He was in Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Um, yeah, there's like Silo, the TV series, right? That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, he also played. Richard the Lionheart in Kingdom of Heaven.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's one of those actors.
Yeah, he's a super British actor. So
Yeah.
he looks very weird when he's young, and he looks like normal and like a movie star when he's older. So
Yeah, he kind of aged into being a movie star. But it's kind of like, oh wow, he got better as he got older.
I mean, yeah, maybe that's just like working out. And well, also looks like he almost looks he has like a comb over in this movie, and like
Yeah,
and then like in like Game of Thrones, he just kind of has like, he have like a buzz cut or something like that? But I don't know.
pretty much. Yeah,
But
it's like, he has like a natural hairline.
yeah,
Looks like a guy who wears a helmet.
Yeah, and I have no idea. I don't know. Did you end up getting information? I had a thing play that no one will hear. So. Did you happen to come across any information about like who was in the play? Were like any of these people like were they in the theater play of this, or do you have any idea?
No, I didn't have any idea.
Okay, so I didn't know if like Richard Dreyfuss was like a pickup. It's like, well, we need somebody kind of famous and American, or if it was like, oh, he was in the theater production of it. So
No, I did not. Let's see who did play in that. Oh, it just lists the characters.
okay.
Not who acted in it.
Yeah, sometimes that's a thing about like famous runs of a play. It's like, was it like the producers like that? It was like Matthew Broderick and crap. What's the other guy?
Nathan Lane.
Yeah, they had like a legendary run of like 15 years of doing the producers, and they even did a movie version of it, even though there was the original one, which is it's been a while since I watched that. That's like one of those great like. Because that was a Mel Brooks thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Springtime for Hitler and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That great Mel Brooks outrageousness.
Oh yeah. Just insane stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was it? It was Gene Wilder. Who was the other one in that movie? In the producers.
Can't remember.
I'll look it up.
Who's in the producers?
I want to say a Monty Python guy, but I can't remember. Oh no, it's nobody I remember. Okay, never mind. Zero Mostel? I don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah, I don't recognize it.
Or is that the crazy guy? Who are the stars of? Oh, doesn't matter. That's not that movie. So yeah, we'll just get into Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, Act 1, which I might have got this stuff wrong. I know for like theaters, act structures are pretty like strict, so it's all guesswork on my part. So we get black and white credits with fancy writing. Some blues music plays with a dog whining. No idea what I'm supposed to pull out of that. I don't know.
Weird.
And then we open on like, I'm calling it a rock quarry. I don't know what the hell this is. It's like mountains.
Looks like a rock quarry.
We got a couple of guys riding horses. It's Rosencrantz played by Gary Oldman and Guildenstern played by Tim Roth. Yeah, so this is 1990, so this is like before Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. What do you think I'm more famous? Being like a lead in Reservoir Dogs or being like the opening and closing of Pulp Fiction?
That's a good question. Probably Pulp Fiction because it was just more well known at the time.
Yeah.
I think as DVD culture exploded, maybe Reservoir Dogs.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because that was Reservoir Dogs is always like a big like, video thing.
Yeah,
Because like I never knew it existed until I, watched Pulp Fiction. Like, oh, what's this Tarantino guy? What are the other movies he's done? So,
yeah.
and it was it was Reservoir Dogs. That's it. Or if you could find what is there like half a copy out there of his first movie called like My Best Friend's Birthday or something like that?
I don't know.
Because I think yeah, I believe his first movie, which I think is just like lost to time because like the film went up in flames or like half of it.
Okay.
I want to say it's called My Best Friend's Birthday, and like the only kind of like surviving scene, or at least the surviving scene that reached the internet, is a scene where Quentin Tarantino is talking about how Maverick and
Oh yeah,
Iceman are gay.
homoerotic movie.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like you can fly on my wing anytime, and he's like, and they pull their cocks out, sword fight.
Rosencrantz spots some gold on the ground. They stop to pick it up. Rosencrantz flips the coin a bunch of times, and it just keeps coming up heads, like a comically amount. Like they just keep going. Like they ride on, and Rosencrantz drops a coin, flipping it, which I think it still lands up heads.
Yeah,
Which I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure what I was supposed to pull out of this. Like the big like Verhoeven effect kind of thing I pulled out of this is like fourth wall breaking stuff, of like assigning of like telling you this is this is a written story.
yeah.
Probability doesn't exist because it's preordained.
This is fate.
Yes.
Fate, what's gonna happen? Yeah,
No. Yeah. So I don't know if that's how you're supposed to pull out of it. I figured that's what they were doing. So
it's probably not far off the mark.
because there does seem to be almost like they're not looking at the camera, but there's a lot of things that are very much like they know they're in a play or whatever.
Yeah, well, they're kind of acting like stage actors would, because they engage the audience more.
Yeah.
They look at the audience, they look at people and say their lines. You would never do that with a camera. You're trying to do that.
um, and then they're camping out and they're like sussing out probability, which I'm like, huh? Do they even have the concept back then? Which probably I don't know.
They might have. I'm not sure.
And then Rosencrantz like makes a Big Mac, or is that just a big burger? Like, what am I supposed to pull out of this, Nate?
I don't know what they were eating. I thought it was just some kind of slab of meat between two like rough pieces of bread.
Well, he has 3 pieces of bread, which that like to me that's Big Mac. So I don't know if that was like they're like, oh, Rosencrantz invented the Big Mac or something like that.
And
But
that could, because like I said,
but also it's like it's too big to eat because he's sitting there like opening his jaw and it's like it's too big. So,
yeah, it's stuff that's like comically big. It's almost like
yeah. It's slabs of bread, slabs of meat, and then like a tomato. Because also just eating tomatoes whole. There's like one where Tim Roth bites into one and just like squirts all over the place.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, well, people ate like pigs back then. And they also didn't have refrigeration and any germ theory or anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, just put the meat in salt and eat it. Let it dry out.
And then Guildenstern like has like a memory or a vision of them being called by a messenger, and it's just like it cuts to like a windy night and like there's like rapping on a window or something like that.
Yeah.
This is weird. I don't know what I'm supposed to pull out of this, or if this is like some Shakespearean stuff I don't understand. I don't know.
If there's symbolism there, I don't get it.
Okay.
Guys are like they're just everything's their thought processes are very random and disorganized. Their dreams are random and disorganized.
Yeah.
Probably why they don't ever figure out how much danger they're in until it's too late.
They ride off and talk about memory. They hear pans clanging as like a caravan approaches. It's a traveling theater. They set up quickly to put up a play for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern because like they need an audience or else they can't survive or whatever. Here we have it's in the credits he's listed as the player, played by Richard Dreyfuss, and so
Yeah.
we have the player and the tragedians, and that's like all the people in the theater troupe are called tragedians, so because they do tragedies. So, well, they say they do basically everything, but whatever. They show off snippets of their skills, where basically like they can do tragedies, comedies, you know, basically like porno, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to get in on the story?" And like it's like, "Oh, are you doing prostitution on the roads?" Like, well, if that's what the people are buying.
Yeah, we're just trying to turn a coin here. It doesn't matter.
Which Guildenstern gets kind of like insulted by that. It's like, why would you like ruin the majesty of theater with pornography? So, um, yeah, because also Guildenstern's like, do you have any classics? Which I don't know what that would mean in this era or whatever.
It'd be like Greek tragedies.
I guess, yeah, right,
That would be the stuff that would like predate them.
um, yeah, then yeah, Guildenstern's like, is that what people want? And it's like, and then the player's like, it's what we do. Which again, I don't know. Is like, is Dreyfuss trying to do any kind of accent, or is he just himself here?
He's doing like the kind of generic British accent.
Okay,
Yeah, he's definitely not trying to. He's not being like. He's trying to somewhat fit in.
okay,
He's also delivering his dialogue in a very performative way because he's an actor in a theater troupe. So he kind of gets away with like I don't know what he's doing, but it's sort of funny.
Well, you can. It's still like he has a recognizable voice, so it's still coming out as like Richard Dreyfuss's voice.
Yeah,
But you know, he doesn't necessarily seem like out of place necessarily because
he's not building a big mountain out of clay. he's trying to. He's like I'm a bard.
And a fun word I know, and I don't know how it works, is iambic pentameter. Isn't that what Shakespeare is supposed to be running or whatever?
Yeah.
Are they doing that here? I have no idea.
No, probably not.
Okay.
Because they're not. Because they're more. Like in scenes where they're not interacting with like the characters in Hamlet, it seems less performative and more like, oh yeah, we're having side discussions because we're outside the main action. Like the camera's not on us, so we can just like talk normally about our frustrations, weird ideas, and what strange people we meet in the woods. At least that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Also, I'd feel like up to this point, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern seem like weird but normal,
Yeah,
like they aren't in the play.
yeah.
And then from here, they sound like they're in a play on
Yes.
forward. So I don't know if that's intentional or what's going on necessarily.
Well, yeah, because now they're interacting in the main sequence of events.
Okay.
They're kind of in the outer. They're in outer heaven right now, back on Earth.
Okay, Nathan, you'll have to tell me because the only outer heaven I know is from Metal Gear Solid. So
That's
that
what
must.
I'm talking.
Okay,
about.
all right.
Yeah, I'm making the same reference.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if outer heaven was a thing that was also a reference from a like Greek or something like that, and I didn't get that. So.
It may be, but if it is, I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
Just know I just like the name.
Well, I guess outer heaven would be more biblical, but
Yeah.
Or is heaven a generic term and not Christian and like entirely?
I mean, for us, the concept of heaven is definitely in the Christian worldview. I'm not sure what Japanese people think heaven is.
Okay.
That because the guy who did Metal Gear Solid, obviously he's Japanese. I'm not sure what it means, but the Japanese like to take stuff from Christianity and like make it into their own great, thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the only reason I liked Evangelion. Angels from the Bible, and they're just quoting the Bible, but they're putting it in a very weird context, which made it interesting to me.
So we get a moment here where like we're flipping coins, and people keep putting like throwing their foot on top of the coin and like making a bet. Because up until this point, it's like I think they counted like it's been like 156 times that it's come up heads.
Yeah.
And then they get to a point where like the player makes a bet that'll be heads, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna lose that bet," and so they kind of like get the coin and like flip it on their own, and then they say like, "I call heads. Do you want to bet?" and then the player disappears, and then they lift up their foot and it's tails, and then like everything starts getting weird from this point on. Like the theater troupe disappears. We hear a woman is heard in distress, like in the presumably in the woods, but then we cut to Act 2, which I'm presuming this is Act 2 because I believe this is like a literal curtain transition. So,
Yes.
so a woman runs through some curtains, and a man gives chase, which this is Hamlet, which I didn't realize until like later on. So this is Ophelia and Hamlet.
Yes.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are now in like a castle where a woman is being chased. Like the curtain comically falls on them, and they're just kind of like almost like ghosts, like in a sheet of under a sheet of just a sheet or whatever. And then like Ophelia and Hamlet like leave the space, and then just like the hall fills with people, and they kind of like they like step off to the side and bow to the king, and the king just like approaches them directly.
Yeah.
And to us, they've never met before, and they seem also kind of confused, but they just like roll with it. So I'm not sure if like how we're supposed to take this scene is like, do they know where they are and what they're doing, or is this like are they suddenly transported to this world and they're confused and just kind of rolling with it?
Well, I know that like what? Richard Dreyfuss, I forget what his name. He doesn't have a name.
It's just called the player in the movie.
Player. I remember he does have a line where he says, "You need to go back. You need to go back to your tragedy or something." I remember he
okay
in there, and then they start betting on the coin tosses, and then it's like, so it's almost like, oh, the theater actors put them back in the play.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And they like seem to be somewhat aware of like, yeah, we weren't actually doing what we were supposed to be doing, and here we are.
Yeah, because that's kind of a common theme in this movie. If you take it of like, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are trying to like escape this play, and the theater troupe keeps pulling them back into it.
Yeah.
And then ultimately they're their executioners.
Yeah.
So, which I'm not sure if that makes sense or not. Is there a theater troupe in Hamlet?
I don't remember. I don't think so. No, I don't remember.
Because I'm trying to, because there's this thing here, and I'm trying to remember it. There's a thing here where it's flipping people around, so it's like very confusing. But it's like Hamlet eventually puts on a play about his dad being poisoned by his brother, and then that's when the king freaks out because it's like that's what actually happened. So I can't remember if that's like a thing that happens in Hamlet or just like an insinuation happens, and that's where the king gets mad and like wants Hamlet dead.
I thought he was talking about like he was telling a story, as I remember it. But
I think it's presented as like this is just a story, but the king knows it's the truth.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not up to Hamlet's. I don't. The last Hamlet thing I saw was when we were talking about that one director who directed Nadia, and he also did the like 2000s Ethan Hawke Hamlet movie, and that's the last thing I remember of Hamlet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the king approaches them and like and they speak about Hamlet, and they're kind of like, so basically they're getting hired to help Hamlet or something. They're like, why is he crazy? Which really the king should know, but but it is a question because Hamlet is acting odd.
Yeah.
Actually, we don't always know. I mean, like when he's acting here,
like in a low mood or things
yeah.
Like that,
Which we'll get explained later on because basically it's like his dad died, so he's supposed to be king, but suddenly like his uncle now married his mom and is king all of a sudden. So it's like, well, that's weird.
That would make you suspicious.
Yeah. The people leave, and then Rosencrantz is like freaking out, and I can't even remember why. There's like a lot of stuff where like they're whispering, and then they talk too loud, and there's like echoes, and they're like, "We gotta roll, we gotta get out of here, man." They're like rolling with things. There's like a dude in like sort of a gesture kind of uniform, and he's like, "Hey, come follow me," and then he just disappears. and like they follow him upstairs, and they just end up back in the same hallway, and
Yeah.
then I mean it's really it sort of makes sense. They're just on the second level, but they kind of present it as like we can't escape this thing, this hallway or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, um, and then like yeah, they run around circles and they hear the king talking of Hamlet's lunacy, so they're kind of like they're like this movie they're like permanent eavesdroppers, but also like everybody else is too. But like this is presenting them as being behind the scenes of every of every scene in Hamlet, like they just happen to be there. So um like they should know better, I guess. um yeah, and this yeah, they made the father's death and hasty marriage. So that's what we know, like, you know, things are weird with Hamlet. And then they just like figure out like, yeah, we cheer him up and we figure out what's the matter. Um then they go through another door and they like find like a gym or something. Like there's like a tennis net up and like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be at that time. Maybe badminton. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. Rosencrantz.
Something like really probably rare animals had to be killed to make the parts. Stuff like that.
um, Rosencrantz starts like like they have like pins and balls and he's like these little rope rings or whatever, and then like at first it seems like he can juggle, but then he just everything falls at the ground, and this is where we get kind of like he's like discovering gravity. It's like, oh, you'd think the heavier thing would fall faster, and then he tries to demonstrate it with a feather and like a croquet ball or whatever, and then because there's wind resistance, he drops the feather in the croquet ball, and the croquet ball immediately falls to the ground. And the feather floats,
Yeah,
and he's like, "You'd be right."
yeah, he's like, oh, see, that's clearly proved.
Which this will be a constant like theme throughout this, and like there's nothing like this, and this is all part of. I mean, I don't even know if this is part of the play. This might be just for the movie, but this isn't like. Yeah, because I don't even know if like Shakespeare would have like any kind of frame of reference to do stuff like.
Oh no,
like
no, this is all for the movie.
that.
Yeah, these in the play you wouldn't gather these guys are having existential conversations behind the scenes. They're bit players.
They play a game of questions, which is kind of like a verbal tennis game, which we're like I don't necessarily understand the rules, but they're like, oh, what is it? But yeah, they just suddenly say things where it's like, you know, repetition. That's my point, or oh, what's the other thing that can like lose you a point if it's like, oh, what's the phrase? Oh man,
Shade.
no, it's not cliched. It's like, fuck. Like I don't want to say hearsay. That's not the word. But anyways, so yeah, it's just it's an interesting scene where just like where nobody can. But this is like them like testing the boundaries of how the hell they're gonna talk to Hamlet,
Mm-hmm.
and then they like I actually like you know this scene paired with the scene with where they like have like the dinner table of Hamlet is interesting because then when they like have the after action report, it's like we asked 46 questions, he answered 3 of them. We're like, fuck.
Yeah, we're not gonna pull this off.
um, they hear the caravan outside, which you'd think like, hey, these are the guys that like transport us here, but then they don't care whatsoever. It's just kind of a distraction.
Look out, see them going by. It's like, yeah, they're back.
So yeah, they kind of pause for some sort of like boundary testing of the world or whatever. Guildenstern leaves and ends up in a hallway, and then he's eavesdropping on like the king and the queen and like their advisor guy, which I don't know his name. He's probably famous from Hamlet. Because he ends up getting like stabbed through the curtain, which I don't know if that's like a thing or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which one he was. He was like, yeah, Polonius. He was like the king's advisor.
Okay.
And it was ultimately the guy who like made all this happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Rosencrantz, like, while Guildenstern's gone off to like eavesdrop at like, and like this weird like, there's just grates and hallways, and like he's listening, and nobody can. they're standing like a foot away from each other, but somehow no one sees each other, so, or they don't see him, or they don't care, or it doesn't matter. Um, and then Rosencrantz just starts making animal noises in the hallway to the annoyance of Guildenstern. It's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to pull out of this. I don't know. Is this like, is this like, is this Shakespearean related, or they just wanted to do something goofy? I have no idea.
I think
It's
they just wanted to be weirdos,
like...
annoy people.
We cut to Hamlet walks into a music room, and then Rosencrantz and Guildenstern watch nearby to eavesdrop on him. Yeah, this is where he has like the chicken. And he's doing weird stuff with the chicken, I think. Because he's like balking as like he's talking, and he's turning pages on a book like he's reading a book to the chicken or something like that. It's like, this is a strange behavior. And then you have the advisor just sitting there. It's like, can I go? Yeah, because I don't know what anybody wants of Hamlet. Like what's he supposed to do? He's supposed to keep his mouth shut and just like go have a good life, or what? Or what's going? Is he the only one speaking truth to power?
No, they don't want him to ruin their plans. And he seems like because he's just not. He's like, they suspect that he suspects.
Yeah.
And and they're trying to like. It's like, oh, he's in a foul temper, and we don't know why. It's like, well, maybe the murder of his father. But it's like, no, well, that didn't happen. He clearly died of natural causes.
So they step aside and like they kind of like do like a role play to like prepare to talk to Hamlet, which like Rosencrantz doesn't necessarily get. It's like, what are you talking about? They kind of do like kind of who's on first stuff here constantly. Mm-hmm. Which I guess if this is written 1967, then like that has to be people that grew up with vaudeville, so that makes sense. Yeah. They walk off into an orchard. Rosencrantz gets hit by an apple and then contemplates, but like gravity doesn't come to mind because this is very like that's Newton, right? That like
that's
the apple
physics.
They work on role play and how to talk to Hamlet. I forget there's some line where Guildenstern is like I think like Rosencrantz is like, let's just leave, and then they're trying to like assess, like they're trying to figure out like how they're going to fit in to talk to Hamlet and not be suspicious about it, and then like they say something like, we were sent for and we did come. So Rosencrantz almost discovers like that's the Newton cradle, right? The balls clacking back and forth.
Yes, cat's cradle. Yeah, I think so.
And it's funny, so he notices like it bounces back and forth, and it's like a pot of like, I don't know, corn or nuts or something like that.
Yeah, it's some kind of food. Yeah.
And then he, this is the scene I see pop up on the internet all the time. And it's very funny because like he's basically like, hey, Guildenstern, check this out. And then he releases the pot, and the pot breaks immediately, and he just deadpan stares, and he goes, that's very interesting. Which I thought that, because this is the one scene I've seen from the movie, I thought this movie was going to be like all that. Like,
so, saw the best part.
Yeah, because this is very, because even I saw some when I looked at like the inside cover of that 50th anniversary, and is like taking reviews like of the movie, and like they're calling them Laurel and Hardy, and then there's something about like it seems like the film stock maybe around the same time I was like comparing them to like Bill and Ted, okay. You even call them Beavis and Butthead. It's just a comedy duo. So,
yeah. There's kind of a couple of tragic idiots that things keep happening to.
Yeah. And I guess Rosencrantz is like a bit more interesting because he's like, you see him like almost discover things, so he's not a complete idiot, but he is absent-minded.
Yeah.
And then Guildenstern is like has more of a head on his shoulders, but like still can't like necessarily recognize danger or whatever. So, oh, this is No, this is when Hamlet's talking to the chicken. Okay, that's the next scene. Then I wrote down it's Ian Glynn. So yeah, he's most known from now from Game of Thrones. The advisor's weirded out and leaves. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern approach and talk with Hamlet. Hamlet talks about Denmark being a prison, and then Hamlet inquires like if they were sent for, and then they admit for it. They admit to it, and then they're like, they're sent for, but like this is the thing, they were sent for, but they actually don't know like to what end.
Yeah.
like there's implication that they're supposed to get information out of Hamlet, but they don't know like, well, what information?
Yeah,
like we just like we're supposed to like update what his mood is. Like that's all they really have to go on.
Yeah, that's what there seems to be their mission. It's like inquire after his moods.
Yes.
Like, is that a roundabout way of saying gather intelligence? Or
Yeah. This is like when billionaires tell people like, you know, these numbers need to be better, and then people go commit crimes, and then they go look at the billionaire. It's like, why'd you tell them to commit crimes? It's like, of course I didn't tell them to commit crimes. Look at what I said to them. It's like, yeah, you didn't say anything. It's like, yeah, see, it's not my fault, but like clearly this is implied. What is that? Oh yeah, this is also where like they have a chandelier, and he like Hamlet cuts the chandelier and it falls on the table. Then we cut to night, and the chandelier is like lifted, and then you see candles on it. It's like, oh, that's why these things fall, because they're lowered down to light candles on them, and you lift them back up. So
it's basically a giant fire hazard.
Yeah.
Crush someone. For one fun.
Because I was always like, there's always these things in movies like this where like, you know, they cut it with a sword and it falls down, and like I never actually thought about like, why would you do it that way? It's like, oh, it needs to be lowered so you can put the candles on it. So, Hamlet goes off on some existential speech, which I'm assuming this is just straight from Hamlet. I'm not sure. Is it? Okay. The advisor shows up to tell Hamlet of the actor troupe like having shown up, and so the advisor and Hamlet leave. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are left to contemplate, and this is where they talk about like, you know, they asked him like, you know, 43 questions, they only answered 3 of them. I think rhetoric, I think, is the other. That was the other thing. Like you could lose a point in the game of questions if you use rhetoric or whatever, which I'm not sure exactly what that means. So,
yeah. Some kind of like argument, like not.
Well, when something's rhetorical, it's like it's not a new idea, so that's okay. That makes sense. This also we have like Rosencrantz. He like has an apple, and he's got like little sails on it, and he basically like almost develops a steam powered turbine, and then Guildenstern just rips it apart so he can put hot water in a finger bowl so he can wash his fingers. So.
Yeah.
Guildenstern tries to be positive about the interaction, then Rosencrantz just lays out the statistics, and then basically, yeah, they only got 3 answers out of them. And then the wind blows ominously through the castle, and they like have this weird discussion about like, you know, because they know like directions and stuff like that, and they know like how the sun works, right? But they hear like they're contemplating. They're trying to figure out like where the wind is blowing based on the sun, and it gets kind of weird. I'm not sure if this is. I'm not sure what's going on here. Other than that,
it seemed to be like, is this navigation? What are they doing? It didn't make a lot of sense.
Or this is just like one of those like this is a comedy bit to say like the wind's blowing eastward or something like that. So, they eavesdrop on the play being performed at a dinner table. We get something where like Rosencrantz is like figuring out mechanical advantage, which I think you actually need 2 pulleys for that, but we never see the pulley system here. So I'm guessing because he can hold his own weight with one hand, so I'm guessing there's multiple pulleys that we just don't see. So
yeah,
because that's what you need for mechanical advantage, right? You need like the 2 pulleys in opposite directions, because then it makes their pull twice as strong. Because there's only 1 pulley, then it's 1-to-1, and so there's no mechanical advantage. So you need a second pulley.
Not exactly sure, but I think so.
Okay, I'll tell you, Nathan. That's how it works.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Or that, or Rosencrantz just a really strong guy. Also, I don't know what this shoot is, so I don't know if this makes any sense whatsoever. That this is how this thing works. Because basically, the rope just holds the plank up, and why would you do that? But then, Guildenstern is like eavesdropping. He's like trying to find out where it's coming from, and so he ends up like on the ground on this plank that Rosencrantz holding up. So now he's holding up both their weights, and he's struggling. He's like trying to tell about it, but Guildenstern's just like laying on the ground trying to eavesdrop, and then they end up falling through the chute. Then Hamlet opens the door.
For a second.
Yeah.
I'm having a little bit of a problem here. I will be right back.
All right.
In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie genre as a vehicle for complex human emotions, social satire, and shocking sex and violence. Is this genius subtext for the artist's intent, or our own imagination looking for cosmic connection where none were intended? We call this dilemma the Verhoeven Effect. In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie genre as a vehicle for complex human emotions, social satire, and shocking sex and violence. Is this genius subtext for the artist's intent, or our own imagination looking for cosmic connection where none were intended? We call this dilemma the Verhoeven Effect. In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie genre as a vehicle for complex human emotions, social satire, and shocking sex and violence. Is this genius subtext for the artist's intent, or our own imagination looking for cosmic connection where none were intended? We call this dilemma the Verhoeven Effect. In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie genre as a vehicle for complex human emotions, social satire, and shocking sex and violence. Is this genius subtext for the artist's intent, or our own imagination looking for cosmic connection where none were intended? We call this dilemma the Verhoeven Effect. In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie genre as a vehicle for complex human emotions, social satire, and shocking sex and violence. Is this genius subtext for the artist's intent, or our own imagination looking for cosmic connection where none were intended? We call this dilemma the Verhoeven Effect. In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie genre as a vehicle for complex human emotions, social satire, and shocking sex and violence. Is this genius subtext for the artist's intent, or our own imagination looking for cosmic connection where none were intended? We call this dilemma the Verhoeven Effect. In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie genre as a vehicle for complex human emotions, social satire, and shocking sex and violence. Is this genius subtext for the artist's intent, or our own imagination looking for cosmic connection where none were intended? We call this dilemma the Verhoeven Effect. In a world of art and entertainment, we often seek deeper meaning and overanalyze the presentation. Director Paul Verhoeven often uses B-movie